One type of leftist who is particularly detrimental to leftist goals is the Bernie or Buster. The Bernie or Buster is the kind of person who will refuse to vote for a liberal, and in doing so, aid a fascist in taking power. Bernie or Busters do not understand what lesser evil voting is, and are a huge pain strategy-wise for achieving left-wing goals. Unfortunately, Bernie or Busters are still deeply relevant, and will be back to wreak havoc every single time an election pops up. Bernie or Busters are not necessarily bad people, but they have a very bad strategy, and this needs to be addressed. Most Bernie or Busters fit into one of two categories. One of the smaller categories is the accelerationist. These people are a minority among Bernie or Busters, but they are a real pain, and their strategy is very stupid. Accelerationists basically believe that material conditions should be worsened because this will somehow lead to some sort of left-wing revolution and massive and very beneficial change. There are some very serious flaws to this belief. If material conditions deteriorate to this level, the right wing will almost certainly win. The right wing is far more powerful than the left wing is, and the left wing will be crushed in this situation. Not to mention that accelerationism could literally lead to the extinction of humanity if issues like climate change are not taken seriously and addressed. Accelerationism is not a good approach in almost every situation. The other main type of Bernie or Buster, in fact, the majority of Bernie or Busters, are generally emotional and privileged. Their ideology is generally social democrat leaning, and they tend to get very emotional at the prospect of having to vote for someone who is not exactly like them. A lot of these people are very privileged too and do not face the real consequences of their voting decisions. Take people like Kyle Kulinski and Jimmy Dore, for example. One thing which is very strange about this bunch is that they are not even that far left. Most of these people are social democrats. They will refuse to vote for liberals like Joe Biden, while people like Noam Chomsky will literally endorse lesser evil voting because they understand it. Noam Chomsky is an anarcho-syndicalist, and he can understand lesser evil voting for liberals better than social democrats can. Social democrats are just left-leaning liberals, and still they cannot suck it up to vote for someone who is not an ideological clone of themselves. These people are not ready to do what is needed. Bernie or Busters do not know how to participate in politics properly. Sometimes you have to choose between someone who is bad and someone who is downright evil. That is the reality of politics. Politics is built off of choosing between two evils. You have to go with the lesser one just about every single time. The Bernie or Busters seem to love moralizing every voting decision. They would say, why would I want to vote for a war criminal like Joe Biden? The reply, of course, is simple. It's either a war criminal like Joe Biden or a war criminal like Donald Trump, and Trump is a lot worse in many ways. I think I will go with the liberal war criminal over the fascist war criminal. It's a pretty easy decision, I must say. You cannot have a perfect candidate every time. It is that simple. Bernie or busting is not a political reality, and it has very bad consequences. All voting is lesser evil voting, and it is very important to remember that. You will not be able to vote for your ideological clone every time, and you have to realize that and understand it and take it into account. There are huge differences between liberals and far-right conservatives and fascists in many issues. These people differ hugely socially and on environmental issues, and have smaller but still very substantial economic and foreign policy differences. Lesser evil voting is what you do in politics. There is really no other option if you're interested in winning.